It's that zesty flow, no, she my flow. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's that zesty. So in the morning class, we were discussing some important points with respect to what is a JDK, what is a JRE, and what is a JIT. Right? We have seen a evolution of a Java. Then we have discussed what is called as the features of a Java. Right? So whatever you are seeing on a screen, these are the features of a Java. We need to discuss some more important concepts of a basic Java programming, right? So the first slide says this we have already finished. I have taken this particular part in the starting itself just to make you comfortable with the program. Here I am just displaying you the steps, what are the things we have followed when we are running a simple Java program, right? But according to a syllabus, this is a point where I need to discuss this particular portion. But I felt like there was some gap for you to install all those applications and run. So I took this particular topic in the starting itself, right? So first a Java program, edit, compile, run cycle, that means how you will be doing that one, followed by Java environment. So you will be knowing what is a Java environment for. So in this heading, the Java environment is nothing but whatever the path and the class path you used to set, that particular part is nothing but a Java environment, right? You are making your platform or a Java programming part ready for experiments like compile and run. So you are going to enable all those things. So that is nothing but a Java environment part, right? So the rest of the things, you know how to create a Java program, you know how to edit, compile and run. That means a compilation you will be doing using a JavaC followed by filename.java, and a running of that particular file you will be doing using a Java followed by class name, right? So condition is whichever class name you are going to give, that particular class name should have a main method in it, right? So just I'll have a glance on what other things are there with respect to this heading. So to compile or run a Java program, JDK needed to be installed and configured with the environment variable. So which was that environment variable? We used to set something called as a path variable, right? So that we have to set. Then once you have a set environment variable, a program can be written on any text editor and the files should have a Java extension, right? See, now you already know how the program need to be run. So you will be feeling like at these points or means you will be able to understand whatever I am displaying, right? So just imagine if you don't know all those stuff, whatever the things you have done, then these points might look a bigger things. Once you have typed and saved for a compilation, once you have a file created, when you want to compile, then you need to type a JavaC followed by filename.java. So then when you have to run, then you will be giving a Java followed by class name, right? So these things already you have done. So these things are looks comfortable for you now. So there is a video link also. So this video link I already shared you. You have already worked on that particular video, right? So this shows like how to configure that particular path variable and class path kind of stuff, right? So that is all about how to set an environment variable, how to create a file, how to compile and how to run. So these are the steps need to be followed, right? So the next important topic which we need to discuss is keywords in Java. Does anybody knows what is a keyword in live about the Java? Does anybody know what is a keyword? Words which already have a predefined meaning. Jagdish Kumar. Okay. Particular meaning. Yes, all the answers are correct. Any other answers? We have already seen one basic program, right? Out of that particular basic program, can you just can you just identify what are the different keywords we might have used? Whether we have used a keyword called a class. Yes, that was a starting keyword which we have written. Yes, they have a special importance. Words predefined by compiler and cannot be used as a variable. Very good, descriptive. Yes. Identifiers have a predefined meaning. Identifiers. Okay. We can consider keywords as identifiers, no problem. The word which we use for writing a programs like include and for, yes, those are the words which will be having their own implicit meaning in the program. Okay. Keyword is a significant word used to find information when researching. Okay, it's a generalized statement. We were talking about programmatical kind of stuff. Generalized statement. I didn't mention you starting itself, right? Even this is a right answer. Okay, so keyword signifies that this particular word will bring us some implicit meaning with it, right? It's an identifier which has a particular impact upon a programming language. Yes, correct. Very good answers. Very nice. Keywords have a special significance and should not be used as variables. Perfect. Yes. Beautiful answers. What are the answers you have given in a chat box? All 99.999999% of all the answers are perfect. So keywords are the words which will be having an implicit meaning in the programming language, right? So once you specify a particular keyword, it will be having its implicit work to be done. Okay. So in our program, in our basic Java program, whatever we have discussed, we have used so many keywords there, right? So the first keyword which you used was a class, right? Then we have used something called as a public. Then we have used something called as a static. We have used a void. Then we have used a main. Main is a keyword. Main is not a keyword, but it is the name given for the function, right? So names given for the function cannot be considered as a keyword, right? Huh. So what are the keywords which we have used? So means I think almost all the keywords whichever I have said, yes, main is a function. Okay. So whatever the keywords which we have used with respect to a basic Java program, almost all the keywords are there in this particular slide, whatever you are seeing, right? So you are already familiar with C programming. You can observe a few keywords like if, go to, for, right? So return, right? So these are the keywords which you have used already with respect to a C language. You might have used a void, you might have used a while, right? So double, right? So all these things are the keywords. Keywords will be having implicit meaning for them, right? So what are the points you need to remember with respect to keywords is, one, it will be having implicit meaning with respect to the program. Second, these keywords cannot be used as a function names, right? And these keywords cannot be used as variable names, right? So these are the answers which you have given already, and those are the valid points with respect to the keywords. Clear? Shall we proceed? So that is about keywords in a Java, right? So the next comes is identifiers in a Java. Similar to C language, here also you have identifiers. Identifiers is nothing but the name which you are giving for the methods or variables, right? So here every time you will be using a class, even for the class name, whatever the name you are going to give, that is considered as identifier, right? So use of identifier is to identify something. So that is the reason why it is classified as an identifier. Okay. So identifiers are used for a class names, method names, and a variable names. Correct? An identifier may be any descriptive sequence of uppercase and a lowercase letters, numbers, or underscores and a $sign character. Right? Apart from this, an identifier cannot have any other special characters, right? So as a special, if you are talking about a special character, what it can have is, it can have only underscore and a $sign, right? Apart from those two special characters, it cannot have anything else, right? So they must not begin with a number. Lest they be confused with the numeric literal. Okay. There might be a spelling mistake. they must not begin with a number, as I'll change this particular word. I'll check in a second. Okay, so what this point is saying is you cannot have any identifier name starts with a number. If you are making it, if any identifier is starting with a number, then everything will be considered as a number itself. It is saying. Okay, so Java is a case sensitive. So capital letter value, capital letter VALUE is different identifier than capital V followed with all other lowercase letters. That means this is case sensitive. Okay, so here are a set of valid identifiers, right? Average temperature, count, A4, dollar test. Dollar is acceptable in the identifier name, so it can start with a dollar. So dollar test. Okay, so underscore is also acceptable with respect to identifier. This is okay, right? So these are the some of examples of valid identifiers, and these are some of examples of invalid identifier. Okay, so why the first one is called as invalid identifier? Because it should not start with a number, correct? So why the second one is not a valid identifier? That means why not a valid identifier? That means why it is an invalid identifier? Because it is having a hyphen symbol in between a high and a temp. Okay, so the special character allowed was only underscore and a dollar, but here it is using a hyphen. Right, and the third one is not a valid identifier because you cannot have a slash symbol between those two values. Right, I hope this particular identifier is simple and quite easy to understand. These are the basics which I have to explain before I start with the programming part. Right, so till now whatever we have discussed is identifiers. Now we have to discuss one important concept, that is nothing but literals. Literals are nothing but the constant values which you will be giving for the variables, right? First, don't look at the slide. First, hear the explanation, then we can see what is there in the slide. Okay. Literal is nothing but the value, right? So before so means instead of talking with respect to a Java, let me take some example of a C language. You will be writing int a is equal to some 10, right? So this is a declaration. When I am writing int a is equal to 10, can I say int is a keyword? Yes, int is a keyword. A is equal to 10. A is an identifier. Identifier is nothing but a name given for the variable, right? So in this case, if I am writing int a, obviously a is nothing but a variable name, right? So when a is a variable name, obviously it will be a identifier, right? So for the identifier, whatever the value you are going to assign, right? So in this case, I have called so means I was telling example of int a is equal to 10, right? In this particular example, whatever is the value you are going to assign for the variable, that is nothing but a literal. Okay, so literal is nothing but the value which you are giving for the variable. Okay, literal is nothing but the value which is valid with respect to the Java programming, right? So literal is nothing but any value, okay, which is valid value. What is a valid value now, right? If I am writing int a is equal to 10.5, is it a valid assignment? I am calling a as a variable of an integer, but now I am assigning some 10.5, right? If I only talk about a literal 10.5, literal 10.5 is the valid, but where you are putting that particular value, that is not a valid part, right? If this particular discussion example, whatever I gave last, if it was confusing, just keep in mind that whatever the values you talk about, 10 is a literal, 10.5 is a literal, x is a literal, this is afternoon class in a double quotes, literal, right? Any value which you will be giving, that will be called as literal. Okay, a constant value in a Java is created by using a literal representation of it, right? For example, here are some literals. 100 is a literal because it is a valid integer value. 98.6 is a literal because it is a valid floating point value. X in a single quote is a literal because it is a valid character constant. Okay, this is a test in a double quotes is valid literal because it is a valid string constant, right? So from the left to right, the first literal specifies an integer, the next one is a floating point value, and the third one is a character constant, and the last is a string. Okay, a literal can be used anywhere a value of its type is allowed. Right? Understood what is a literal? Any value, if you are talking about any value like a 10, 10.5, x, y, z, x, y, z as a double quote, everything can be considered as a literal. Right? So now a closer look at literals, integer literals. What all the things will be considered as integer literals? Any whole number is literal. Example 1, 2, 3, 42, etc. All those things are integer literal. That means we are talking about integer constant, right? So there are two other bases. Means when I talk about integer, then obviously its base will be a 10, right? Numbers with a base 10, base 10 numbers, right? That was a normal integer. There are two other bases which can be used in the integer literals. One is octal with a base 8 and another one is hexadecimal with a base 16. Right? So how to represent these particular numbers? We have here representation. Octal values are preceded with a 0, 0 to 7 is octal range. That means if you want to write a 1, then you have to write it as a 0 followed by 1. Then it will be considered as a octal value. Hexadecimal values preceded with a 0 followed by x or capital O followed by x. The range of a hexadecimal digit is 0 to 15. So through F, so means after a 9, you need to, if you want to write it as a 10, then you need to write it as A till F, right? I think you know what is a octal and what is a hexadecimal, so I'm just reading a statement, right? Keep one thing in mind, don't get confused. We are talking about the literals in the sense the right hand portion of your variable equation, right? We are just talking about values. Okay, so when we are just talking about values, we are just discussing if an octal has to be represented, how it has to be represented. We are saying that if you want to say some number as an octal representation, prefix that one with a 0. Okay, so if you want to represent some number as a hexadecimal, then prefix that one with a 0 followed by small x or 0 followed by capital X. That will tell that the number whichever you are assigning is a hexadecimal number. Okay, so an integer literal can always be assigned to a long variable. You remember long data type? If you don't remember, also keep in mind integer is a small value. That means if you want to store a smaller value, then you will be going with the integer. If you want to store a bigger value, then you will be using a data type called a long. That means integer can be stored in a long also. Okay, however, to specify a long literal, you will need to explicitly tell the compiler that the literal value is of a type long. This is done by appending an upper or lower L to the literal. Again, I'm telling you, don't post a question privately. Question is something like this: what if literal values in a Java does not explained by identifier used during the programming? Just a query. See, it is up to you how to write a program. Now say for example I'm telling you, if you are writing int a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, then if you are writing c is equal to a plus b, it will be having a values to perform a summation, right? At the same time, assume that you have written int a, not given any value, just wrote int a comma b, then you were trying c is equal to a plus b, right? So now in this case what happens, it will be adding a some garbage value which is stored in a and b, right? It will not be adding the literal values if you have not assigned. Okay, so here also the same thing happen. If you are not initializing those things, then it will be added with the garbage value. You will be performing operations on a garbage values. Garbage value in the sense some random numbers will be there. You have not assigned any value, but it can be a some memory address, it can be a some random hexadecimal value, or it can be a some space which has been occupied from a previous value, then it was allocated for you, some garbage value. Garbage in the sense I don't know from where that particular value has come, that is nothing but a garbage value, right? In a C or a Java, if you are just declaring a variable, say for example int a, if you are writing, initially the a will be having a garbage value in it, right? Later if you do a is equal to 10, then only previous garbage value will be removed, 10 will be added into a. It will be unknown literal value. Instead of telling it as an unknown literal value, when it is a garbage, yes, obviously it can be considered as unknown literal value, but technically speaking it will not be unknown literal value, it will be some long or a integer value itself, because it will say for if you are writing int a, not initializing that one, so memory address, if it was storing some bigger value, that will be truncated and stored in that particular location, right? If you are saying int a, then it will be a some random number of integer. If you are saying a float a, then it will be a some random float value into that. So that is the reason why it will be called as garbage. That means I don't know how, from where that particular value has come to that particular variable. You might have seen these kind of statements in a C program. I'm not writing a complete program, I'm just saying you like these kind of statements, right? We will be calling these things as a simple assignment statements in a C language, right? So now what is the int? Int is a keyword. Int is a keyword. A is nothing but a variable, right? Variable name, right? This can be called as a variable name or identifier. This is with respect to A. Equal, you are assigning some value to it, right? So whichever value you are assigning, that is called as letter. Understood without any some means valid, invalid, all those stuff. Literal is nothing but some value, right? In our example, this particular literal is nothing but an integer literal, because you are assigning integer to a. Integer means some whole number, right? So when you are assigning some whole number, so means you have a different ways of assigning your values, right? I didn't see that chat question. Yes, 10 is a literal. Similarly, if I am writing a char, C is equal to, how you will be giving a character constant, it will be put in a single quote, right? So in this example, that A is nothing but a literal. So in a garbage there is gonna be some random value. Yes, in a garbage there is gonna be some random value. What do you mean by a garbage in the sense? Say for example, if you have written int x, that means x has not been assigned with any value. right? But there should be some memory space allocated for this particular X, right? So what a system will do is, when it come across this particular statement, it will create a space in a memory location. It will be assigned with some random value. Some random value initially, right? Without removing this particular value, if you are performing any operation, then it will be performing operation on these garbage values. This is called as a garbage because I don't know from where it has taken a 4 ball, 5 ball, 5, all those stuff. It will be some random number. I cannot predict what might be the number which will be taken by the X. That will be allocated from the system. All these things are the literals. Literals is nothing but the value which you are assigning for the identifier is nothing but a literal. So what we are discussing is, with respect to int, you will, means generally if you are saying int a is equal to some 50, means you are talking about a base 10 value, right? You have a different bases also. You have a something called a octal with a base 8 and a hexadecimal with a base 16, right? How to represent this particular octal? He is saying that prefix that one with a 0 followed by some value, right? If you are talking about hexadecimal, what he is saying is, if you want to represent some hexadecimal value, first write a 0 followed by small x or a capital X, then you give the number. Now this will be considered as some hexadecimal literal, right? If I am writing a 0 followed by 7, then this will be considered as octal value or octal literal. Hope this is clear. That was about integer literal. See, here are some examples. 0x7 followed by these many f followed by l, right? So he already said that if you have some long value, then end that particular value with a l, okay? And 0 followed by x means now he is talking about some hexadecimal value. This is one of our example where you have some long value, and another is number which is a very long and followed by l, right? So these are the few things which we need to remember with respect to integer literal. So integer can also be assigned to a character as long as its range, it is within a range. The last point is not that much important, but that is a valid point. That is the intention why I wrote that. If you observe the last point carefully, what it has been written is, an integer can also be assigned to a char as long as it is within range, right? Integer can be assigned to a char. Again, I'm telling you not to confuse you. If you are able to understand, you can understand. I can write a char some x. This is some character constant, right? Here, if I want to store a into x, I can write a something like this, correct? Now, how that particular character constant will be stored in a x? Using its ASCII value, right? So what he is saying is, instead of writing a character and saving its ASCII value, you can directly write some integer number in it, right? So now both the assignments are the same. You are saying that x is a character data type. That means it has a capacity to hold characters, right? In the first example, what I have done is I have written a directly. In that case also, a will not be directly stored. ASCII value of a will be stored into a x, right? So here also, in the next case also, instead of writing a in a single quote, I have written as 65, saying that this is a number. Yes, this might be a number, but I am putting this particular thing as a ASCII value for you, right? Because the variable whichever it is holding is a x, which is of a char type, right? So that is what the last point is saying. The last point is saying that an integer can also be assigned to a char as long as it is within a range, right? So means ASCII values will be having a some range. You cannot assign a some 50,400 to a char constant, right? You don't have a that much bigger range for ASCII values. Clear with the integer literals? Actually, we need to discuss a different kinds of literals, because we had a discussion on integer literals. If you are clear, then we will proceed with the different types of literals. Any questions till this point? So that is all about your integer literals. In the similar lines, you have something called as a floating point literal, right? If you want to store a fractions, then you will be using a floating point, correct? Floating point numbers represent a decimal values with a fractional component. Can be expressed in either standard or scientific notation, right? Anybody knows scientific notation? Mantessa, all those things. Standard notation consists of a whole number component followed by a decimal point followed by the fractional component. Okay, so this is the standard notation. You will be having some whole number followed by a decimal point followed by the fractional part. So this is your standard notation, right? So what is a scientific notation then? Scientific notation uses a standard notation, floating point number plus a suffix that specifies a power of a 10 by which the number is to be multiplied. That means usually you might be seeing 0.2 into 10 raised to 2, 0.2 into 10 raised to minus 5. All these things is nothing but the scientific notation. Okay, so you cannot write a 10 raised to something directly into the computer, so you will be using something called as exponent, right? So if you want to represent some scientific notation, the exponent is indicated by an e or a small e followed by a decimal number which can be a positive or a negative. That means if you want to represent a 10 raised to 2, that means I am talking about a positive 2, then you will be writing e followed by 2. Okay, so it says that he is interested in a 10 raised to 2 exponent value. Exponent in the sense what is there on a top, that means 10 to the power, which value you want to specify. Okay, so here are examples include a 6.022 E23. This says that 6.022 into 10 raised to 23. Okay, so you have another example 314159 E minus 05. That means 314159 into 10 raised to minus 5. Okay, so similarly you have another example 2 E plus 100. That means 2 into 10 raised to 100. Any questions? Few people are raising a hand, so that is the intention why I am asking. Any questions?
No.
If you have a question, you can drop in chat box. Okay, so that is about your floating point literal. Floating point literals in a Java default to double precision. Double precision in the sense after a point you will be getting a 6 places of a fractions. That is nothing but a double precision. We will see one simple example on this particular floating point literals, then you will be clear, right? Not in today's class, in the next class. To specify a floating literal, you must append an f or small f to the constant, right? If you want to give any floating point literal, he is saying that you have to specify it as capital F or a small f. Okay. You can also explicitly specify a double literal by appending a D or a small d. Question in a chat box. Sir, in a integral literal, you gave 0.733 FFL as an example, but here also you are using a 0.655, 6.44 integer value. Keep one thing in mind, when you are saying an integer, it will not be having any fraction. It cannot have any fraction. With respect to integers, we have discussed some base, that means octal base and a hexadecimal base. We said that if it is the octal base, you need to prefix a 0. That means if I want to represent a 7 in an octal, then I need to specify 0 followed by 7. I cannot directly write it as a 7. If I am directly writing it as a 7, it will consider it as an integer 7. Along with that, if you want to represent some hexadecimal value, we have said that you need to prefix that one with a 0 followed by small x or a capital X, right? You cannot have a fraction values in a integers. If you want, I will show you the previous slide where I have discussed integer literals. So, here none of our examples are using some fractions. These are the two examples which I have quoted with respect to integers. You don't have any fraction values here. This is a hexadecimal representation, this is a long value. Okay. Right? So when it comes to a floating point literals, then only the fractions will come. With respect to fractions, you have a two representation. One is a standard and the next one is a scientific. If you are going with the standard, it will be followed, it will be a whole number followed by a dot followed by a fraction values, right? If you are going with a scientific, then you will be having a notation of a e. E will be called as an exponent, right? So e, after a e, you can have a some positive value or a negative value that represents the power of that particular number. Okay. So using a float, so means for the float data type, you can assign some double value also. If you are assigning some double value, then the constant will need to be ended with a capital D or a small d, right? So what it is saying is, what are this particular point of a small f or a capital F is saying is, with respect to a Java, one second, are you able to see the notepad? With respect to a Java, if you are writing a float x is equal to 0.5, right? Actually, with respect to C, this is perfect, no problem, right? So what a Java is saying is, when you are assigning a some value like this, then it is better to initialize this one. This was a 0.5. This is a valid with respect to C. What it is saying is, you initialize this one with this particular notation, explicitly saying that this 0.5 you are talking about a fraction number itself, right? Similarly, if you want to initialize some double value, that means a bigger number, then you need to use some capital D or a small d, right? Again, I'm telling you, we will see a simple example on this particular floating point literals in the next class. Then you will be having a clear idea like what I am talking about, what is that particular suffix of a small f, capital F, all those things, right? So we have discussed what is an identifier, what is a literal, we have discussed what is the integer literal, what is the floating point literal. Actually, we need to discuss different other types of literals. You have a boolean literals, character literals, string literals, all those things. We will be taking those things in the next class. I don't want to bother you. I can understand this is afternoon session. cannot put more theory into the mind, right? So if anybody has got any questions, you can ask a question. If you don't have any question, then we will wind up the session.